Of course, like the most memorable characters I've written is one is Raju from Wrong Side Raju and second is Sarshad Mehta. But the most fun journey I had writing a character was the character of Boman Irani's character from Made in China, Dr. Vardi.
So Karan, what was the very first piece of writing? Do you remember?
I wrote it for this film school's one of the exercise, and the best part was that piece did not have a dialogue. Oh, it was just a 1 minuter,
Okay.
and I had written only half a page, and the film was about a recycling.
Very nice.
So that was the very first piece where there was no dialogue.
And what was the very first piece of writing for which you got paid?
I think it was. I taught somebody how to write.
Oh, you taught somebody out. Oh yeah, wonderful.
For that, I had to show him that okay, this is how you write. So I wrote a couple of dummy scenes, and I got paid for that. Ultimately, I got paid very less than I was promised, but yeah, it was like the first paycheck.
The very first paycheck.
$65.
What did you do with that $65?
I have no idea. Must have I had so much food.
You just blow it out on
Yeah, on some Subways, on McDonald's maybe.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Splurging on food.
yeah. That's what I did.
Karan, there are two types of writers in general. Writers who read books and writers who read films. Which category would you classify yourself in?
Third category.
Which is?
I read people.
You read people.
Yes. That's my biggest learning. So even whatever kind of a subject I'm working on, I like to meet people who are part of that kind of a world. If it is something real, I like to read about them or just see their interviews, or if that person is alive, 100% I would love to meet them. And then, I implement on page, and most of the characters or most of the stories which comes to me have some sort of a resemblance of a real event or real incident which I have noticed or I have witnessed or I have heard about. So बस वैसा ही है.
तो जब आप कैरेक्टर्स तराशते हैं अपनी कलम से, तो कितनी हद तक वो कैरेक्टर्स को आप मिल चुके हैं? जैसे आपने बताया, if you've either met them, so are they all complete fiction? Are they all complete non-fiction? Do you derive from family? Do you derive from friends? Do you derive from the fraternity?
Yeah. That is a part of the process.
Right.
That you always, I'll always love to meet people, and I take something from each person I met, and then I try to incorporate in a different way. Sometimes I incorporate the same person in a different way in different projects. But I know, for example, all my kind of friends are into some sort of a business. So if I'm writing a businessman, so always those of my friends are always in my mind. That okay, how they would have done it.
You've written multiple characters of various colors and shades. So far, which has been one of the most precious ones, or I'm sure they're all precious, but which has been a fun journey in embodying that character, or like, okay, you derived it from here, or an anecdote that you could share?
Of course, like the most memorable characters I've written is one is Raju from Wrong Side Raju and second is Sarshad Mehta. But the most fun journey I had writing a character was the character of Boman Irani's character from Made in China, Dr. Vardi. It was super fun, deriving from a lot of sexologists. So during the research of the film, I don't know if the research is shown on the page or the screen or not, but yes, I did research a lot for that character. I myself have met at least 30-40 sexologists disguised as a patient.
Wow.
And that's how I met a lot of sexologists, and like the character was amalgamation of all those incidents and events which I have gone through during that film's research. Though it was majorly inspired from Mahendra Vatsa, and some of the Mahendra Vatsa's philosophy is there with the character.
With the acid tongue.
Yeah, but but the how to dealt with this subject and how to, you know, actually I had a free canvas writing that character. I had so many things, you know, it was a good sort of a dilemma that, I can take this part from this person, this part from that person. I also met a lot of quacks, and I have also put a couple of quackery into that character as well, but he has a logic for that quackery.
Always.
Yeah.
So how was it when you told Mr. Irani about it? Did you tell him about this research of how you, I guess, almost flirted with ethics and went in as a patient?
The first thing he told me, I cannot say it right here.
Okay.
It would have been censored.
Yeah.
But of course.
Does it have anything to do with him being a Parsi?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. But so the thing is, when I met him, he was in a really bad shape. He was going through some back issues. So when I met him for first time, I have narrated him the story. So that time he was like completely quiet and he just walked out. I thought he didn't like the film. Then couple of days later, he called me and the director to his place, and we also got to know that he is having a severe back problem. He was suffering from a slip disc. So he was completely on a bed rest, and that's how we had a conversation. And then he had certain reservations, and he had certain reservation about certain lines. And then that's when I had to tell him that, okay, this is all I have derived from something. It's not absolutely just a, fictionalized version which has been created in my head.
There's a method to the madness.
Yeah. So, and he was completely happy.
Oh yeah, it showed while he was performing, and I happened to be there, right across the chair. But
so that's the one character I thoroughly enjoyed writing. Yeah.
Karan, art is usually a discovery. You don't necessarily know, okay, I am going to be an oil on canvas painter, or I am going to be the best sitarist the world has ever known. It happens to be a discovery. So did you stumble upon writing, or how did you find your fascination for the art?
The thing is, always like, my family has been a very filmy family. They love to watch films.
Right.
Be it on TV, be it in theatre.
Do you remember your first film as a kid?
I don't remember, but I have been told the Hina was my first film I have watched in the theatre.
Kya baat hai?
I don't remember.
The Hina, the great musical extravaganza that Hina was. Wonderful.
I think I was a year old, so I really don't remember, but that's the first film I have been told that my parents took me into the theatre, and most of the film I was crying.
You were crying. So good, you got it. Not because you were a kid, but because you got the film. I think for me it was Bugs Bunny, but yeah. But Hina was your first film, and then you were saying that they're a filmy family.
Yeah, so one day while watching a film in the theatre, I think I was like maybe in like a 4th or 5th grade. Very, very simple, curious question I had for my dad, and he says, "Who makes films?" And because I'm really enjoying it, watching it. So he said, there's a person called director who makes the film. That's what my dad's response was. And within a fraction of a second, I said, oh, I want to become a director. I want to make films. It was very, very young age that thing just happened. And then I took it very seriously. There were a lot of ups and downs in between. I wanted to become an architect, then I wanted to become an interior designer, and then everything. I also did BSc. I also wanted to become before that, a pharmacist. Like, a lot of things kept on happening.
But see, your goal evolved.
Yeah.
And obviously you've in terms of career or in terms of the pursuit of education, the journey has been unconventional, and I can very much identify with that journey. So when you have a journey like this, what did you as an individual go through when you had a goal that you, for example, architecture fascinated you, but then there was writing that was hearkening. So was interiors, but then again direction also.
Yeah, so I thought, okay, the director is the storyteller. Of course, director is a storyteller, but he's not the sole person. See, there are in India, it's a very different thing that most of our directors are also the script writers. That's not the case with the West. So it's a very simple thing I did, that whatever I could do after my graduation, I went to film school. And when I went to film school, I was in Los Angeles. I discovered a different side of a filmmaking. Of course, we have seen like Hollywood films, but I have like seeing as an audience. But when I was in a film school, I started learning the ABC and the grammar and everything, and that's when I stuck to this one chord that okay, always the idea belongs to the writer. Oh, and like it's a writing process. It's a very interesting process, because on paper you are creating your own world. You are basically a god. You're making, if you want another character to slap another character, if you want one character to fall in with another character, you can do it. And it has to be very logical, and it has to be very convincing. So that's when I actually discovered that okay, actually I have a spark for a writing, then a director, and then into a direction. Still I pursued. Then even after studying direction and everything, even finding out that I have a thing for writing, I still had a one kida, so I enrolled into same college for producing. So again I went to the same journey. I said okay, if I have a story, who's going to produce my film? What if I do not get a chance to make my own film or write, I think the better idea is let me first turn into a producer. So then
So there's no question of rejecting or your story not seeing the light of day.
Yeah, and I had a very clear concept that in the West there are a lot of writer producers, especially into television. So then I tried to make my trajectory in that direction. I came back to India again. I started assisting. I wrote the same film which I was an associate director and second unit director, both the Gujarati Wrong Side Raju and Made in China. But at the same time, I did not enjoy the most of the set part than the writing part, because writing as a process I really enjoy.
What do you enjoy?
Same thing which I said, meeting new people, you are always curious, the unknown territory, you are walking into it. It gives lots and lot of excitement.
How do you prep yourself to write?
I don't have any.
Do you have a desk with a heap of well, now we don't really have heaps of paper of scripts. I do know a few writers who still write on paper, but a favorite window or a favorite season that you write in, and then a particular location that you write in, or do you have a favorite pen?
I have, so that keeps on changing.
Okay.
I used to have favorite cafes.
Okay.
Then on the same cafes, I used to have a favorite table. Nice. So if I don't get a table, I'll not write that day.
The future of cinema depended on whether that table was available or not.
That changed when I moved to Bombay. You don't have a luxury of silent cafes, and you don't even have a luxury of bigger houses or bigger apartments. So then I adjusted and everything. Then fortunately, I started getting work which was commissioned, which is you are already been commissioned to develop a certain story and the script, or at least your first draft is commissioned. So then I found it solace into this production houses and offices I used to write, and they give you nice corner where you can write and work and stuff. And now I have my own desk, own chair, own window, own cup of coffee. Now I have that one set of a corner which I feel is at least permanent for a couple of years, where I can write. But it always changes. Even the pen changes. For 1 year I have fascination for one pen, then something happens to that pen, or you lost it, you get the new one.
And some lucky soul gets that pen.
Yeah.
and starts writing, but unfortunately doesn't have the same table which is available at that or the same coffee. Black or milk?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, nice. I'm greedy that way.
Well, diversified.
Yeah.
You mentioned a very colorful journey in terms of choices that you made or the changes that you went through. Coming from an Indian family, coming from a Gujarati Indian family, how did your parents take that change? How did your family react to this changing path that you had?
See, they were, as I said, they are being a filmy family. They know what the films are, and at least they had some idea. So they did not look down upon the profession.
Correct.
But they were absolutely scared and little skeptical that how I am going to make it. If the life is going to be full of struggles.
Cut a living out of it.
Yeah, full of doubts. And what if you don't make it? Then what's your backup plan? So they were always worried about it. But then, you know, I used to work so many hours that they used to hardly see me. So in my head, I was like, okay, the more they're gonna see me, the more they're gonna worry.
The more they are concerned.
Yeah, so it's better you be so busy that they are
That
not
it
at all
is.
concerned. So that's what I have been
Nice
doing.
perspective.
And then throughout they have supported. At some point of time, they have also supported financially. That okay, and that has been the best part because you don't have to pay bills. You don't have to worry about if there will be a roof on your head or not, or you're gonna get a 2-time meal or not. I am very fortunate that they supported in that ways. They did not, usually Indian parents do compare that, oh, your friend is making this much.
Doctor, engineer, lawyer.
Yeah, your cousin is making that much. They never made me feel that.
Very nice.
That, okay, oh, you are like 27, 28 and oh, what's your income? So they never made me feel it. Even I make like a slightest penny, they were happy. Oh, at least he's making.
What were some of the most profound pieces or pearls of advice that your parents kept giving you? Like, for example, my dad would always tell me, always be ethical. Don't do wrong by somebody or whatever. So what were some of those that you grew up with?
One thing, he still keeps on telling me.
I think they all will
Yeah,
continue to do that for eternity.
And I think it's don't say no for a work if you like everything, but only the money is the part which is putting you aside.
Nice.
So don't say no for a work for money. If you like the people, if you like the project, even the money is less, you think you can give your 100%, just don't say no to the work just because
it's less money
it's
or
a
no
less
money.
or there's no money.
Nice.
I still follow that. So yeah, sometimes that's I hardly say no now.
Good, keeps you busy.
Yeah.
Karan, आप अमेरिका में थे. You were at UCLA and you pursued filmmaking, you pursued writing, you pursued the theoretical study of cinema. At UCLA, a majority of your syllabus would comprise of Hollywood and maybe some foreign cinema. You're a prolific writer now and you've been working predominantly in the Gujarati sphere here. How do you take the learnings from that and juxtapose them into an Indian or a Gujarati bioscope?
So when I was in UCLA, even though we watch Hollywood films, but we got to know about one very interesting thing about Hollywood. We had one professor who said very interesting line. I don't know if I am saying it correctly, but he says, make no mistake, Hollywood is a very local industry. It just has a global distribution.
Wow.
So, and then I asked the question, he says, if your industry cracks the distribution, any film can reach to any platform, anywhere. And after 10 years, this is 2011. This is like very initial quarter or semester.
Correct.
He has said this thing. In 2020, again I was in America and it rang true because just one day I thought, oh fuck, a Korean film won an Oscar. Oh fuck, this show which has come out of Spain is the biggest show on earth called Money Heist. So all these things I am seeing, and he says, absolutely. If you have a great story to tell, and even if it is local, it can reach to the global audience. You just have to tell the right story and you just need a platform that this story reaches to the right people.
You and I both have had the very nice opportunity of studying abroad and in the same country as well, in the United States, and we, I think, both have fond memories of it. What has been your fondest memory of being a student in the United States?
It's the curiosity. I still look for that curiosity. So that's why I also try to find a different subject.
And I think the liberty that the country or the education system afforded you at that time, that go ahead, ask questions, be curious.
See, that is there. I think it's not just limited to states. I think it's a thing for the West, and we are going to see it happening more
We've
often
already
here.
started seeing the change here.
What I understood was that because Hollywood was the Hollywood, or the New York or Los Angeles, they are international cities. So you meet a lot of international people and a lot of international students. I had my friend from Venezuela. I used to meet a taxi driver who was like with me most of the time, because I would call him that, okay, come down, pick me up. And he was an Armenian. I had a very close friend who was an Italian guy. So all these different people, different culture, how they pursue the storytelling, what are their favorite films from their culture.
Nice.
Knowing that, same food.
Are you still in touch with them?
Yeah, in a way. Social media helps.
Very nice.
In that ways.
And conversely, what has been the worst nightmare from your stay in the States?
Nightmare. I don't have a sort of a nightmare thing. But first of all, I was up all night. I used to do a part-time job in a university in the night shifts.
What did you do? Were you in the...
I was in the catering department for a while.
Same here.
So we had a lot of events and stuff, but very little while. But then I was also helping my uncle and aunt, and like there are a lot of stuff.
Was that when you got your first phone?
First phone I already had in India.
Oh, you had.
Yeah,
I might be very old.
I already had my first phone in India, but I had my first smartphone there.
Wow.
So yeah, so first time I discovered, oh, you can watch videos on your phone. So cool. I used to watch movies on phone while commuting on bus and stuff. I watch a lot of movies on my phone. Where I used to stay and my college were very close, but my aunt used to stay very further. So
but you struggled. But you went through the struggle of making sure that you have your education, also doing your job, which may probably eat away into your sleep hours.
Yeah. Like at that time, I was up at least 18-19 hours every day. Yeah, like round the clock for 4 years.
And then you appreciated how that country has a weekend system where they don't work on the weekends. Or did you work on the weekends?
I did.
Oh, you did?
You make more money on weekends.
You make more money on the weekends, yes.
That's a Gujarati brain tells you.
That's the Gujarati in you. Yeah. Watching films on the subway, watching films between classes, watching films wherever, whenever, however you could. That's what you did. But a question that was hurled at me with a lot of laden sarcasm and insults must have been hurled at you as well. Vapas kyun aa gaye? Was a question that all those reverse brain drain batch students would get. And when you look at these people, including ourselves, where we've made a living or we've made something out of it, those questions have suddenly disappeared, and some of them even turned into appreciation and
good you came back.
Good you came back. अरे हाँ बिल्कुल मैं जानता हूँ यार मेरा भतीजा है यार. खैर तो ये सवाल आपको definitely आया होगा कि
So being a Gujarati, my visa was rejected 3 times.
Good, 2 times.
Even for the F1. So the last time, I was like, okay, this is the last time. You want to give? You want to give? Okay.
That's the confidence they wanted.
Yeah. So After 2 time rejection, so I had got an admission. I had worked for this TOEFL and all this, making a portfolio and everything. I spent good like 7-8 months doing that. So my mom says, good, one more time. I said, only I'm doing it for you. I don't think so they understand me. The visa interview, straight, one question. Why would you come back?
Wow.
Straight, blunt. Because that person must have seen ये 15 दिन पहले आके गया है, उससे पहले 15 दिन आके गया है, तीसरी बार आ रहा है. और उसी की वजह से
आया है.
हाँ, वापस क्यों आओगे? I said, sir, my first love is Bollywood. I don't think so that I can make a Hollywood film. My inclination towards writing, and if I don't understand the culture, if I don't understand the people, how am I supposed to write, and especially the dialogues in English? My English is not that great. A writer needs to have a command over a language where he is going to translate the film. And the first time I said it with a very fluent English.
That one thing you said in fluent English. In the third interview.
He bought it.
Of course he did.
He bought it. It says, I think my first love is Bollywood, and I think I want to come back and make films in Hindi for India. Maybe I will use that learning from your industry and maybe will apply it here. Straight, no question. He said, your visa is approved.
It would be so wonderful. Unfortunately, those officers get changed every 2 or 3 years. Otherwise, it would be so wonderful if you could send him a premiere ticket to one of your films that is releasing on a particular Friday, and that Thursday's ticket is like, sir, I am back. Here are the learnings, and you can watch it on screen now.
So after that also I had to go for my tourist visa. I was done with my F1. I was working here, and again I had to go in 2017 for another visa interview for States. Again, one simple question: why you are going?
Why are you going now? Or why are you going back?
And I said, my first feature film is getting premiered in America. So when I came back, then I felt like, okay, now the circle is completed.
Now
From that interview to this interview. And I came back and I came to Bombay and I felt, oh, it is too overcrowded.
This is your first feeling.
Yeah, that's my first feeling.
California to Mumbai.
California to Mumbai is like, oh shoot, like how I am going to survive. So I went back to home, convincing myself that, oh, I have stayed away from home for like 4 years. At least I can spend 4 months. So that 4 months turned into like good 2-3 years. 3 years. And that 2-3 years I worked in Gujarati industry. It gave me a very wonderful film, Wrong Side Raju, in my life. And because of that film, whoever I am.
So Wrong Side Raju made you the person that you wanted to begin with, or be by beginning with. It made you the sought after writer that you are always wanting to be. Then came along Scam, 1992. First film, National Award. Second, digital masterpiece, which had a worldwide acclaim. Does it pressurize you in terms of
Always. I am always
people's
pressurized.
expectations of you?
Yeah, you cannot escape that.
How do you deal with pressure?
Write more.
You write. Do you doubt yourself?
Every day, every second, every page, every line.
And then how? Wow, every page, every line. And how do you overcome that doubt, or how do you? Or is it always butterflies in the stomach till you get to the final frontier?
I achieve some kind of a solace when I narrate. I was very bad in narrations. Scam made me very good narrator. I used to narrate each episode multiple times to multiple people.
And thereby reassuring yourself.
No, this is working. Oh, this is not working. I knew I have given my sort of 100% while doing that. But again, there was also a fear because I have also given 100% all my previous projects, including Made in China, which didn't do well. It was my
For
first
whatever
kind of
reason.
a mainstream film. Yeah. See, one film work, there are 100 reasons for its working. If it doesn't do well, there are 100 reasons that why it didn't do well.
According to you, why did it not?
I think it was a structurally bad film. Made with very good intention.
Yes.
The onus is maximum on me. I couldn't crack the structure. The structure was not that robust that can keep audience engaged. Though I completely stand by what the film come out, like it's a very well shot film. All the actors have given their 1000%.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Like
Oh
even
no, it
the-
was a joy. It was a joy.
yeah, all the actors. Like I think it's one of the most underrated performance of Baman and Raj.
Yes.
I can vouch that, and I think it started with the writing. The thing we were very excited about itself did not work. But Made in China, I learned one thing. I knew how to make a scene. If you pick up individual scenes of Made in China,
They're wonderful.
they're wonderful. The film as a whole doesn't do justice because structurally the storytelling was not up to the mark.
Yeah, or maybe it did not.
The director did full justice. Niren Bhai came along with the wonderful dialogues. So it's majorly it was a screenplay issue, and it rests with me. It rests with me.
When you write, do you have a muse? Do you have inspirations that you draw from? What triggers the writer within you? What is it that instigates you to write? What are your inspirations?
Anything, to be very honest. I can go back home and think about this interview and I can get some idea.
Wonderful. So we hope.
If I'm going on a road, if I see somebody, a very interesting character, just standing next to me on a signal, and if I just look at him for like 10-15 seconds, and if I notice something, it can turn into a story, an idea. I always look around, what is happening around me, what is happening in India, what is happening in the world, what is happening in my family, what is happening with my distant cousins and all. Sometimes you get an idea from that.
Omni-observant all the time.
Yeah, because you just keep your eyes and ear open and something strikes. Because a good idea will only strike when you are looking for it. And sometimes it just strikes when you are actually not looking for it. But it's always there in your subconscious.
Is there a particular genre that you fancy more?
I won't say a genre, but I fancy a longer narratives. Longer narratives in terms, okay, of course we have a very generic term for longer narratives for the web series and the series. But I also like longer narratives in the films. Like you complete a story in 3 films, you complete a story in 2 films. I like something what Anurag did with Vasipur or what happened in Bahubali.
Sequel or the Bahubali trilogy, yes.
Yeah, I like longer narratives. I also like characters which have a longer shelf life, like James Bond. I think it was there before I was even born, and it's gonna be there even after I'm gonna die. So that's how I like all those characters. You can have a spin-off, you have the world. So I fancy all that characters, stories, which just stays for longer period of time, forever.
What or who inspired Wrong Side Raju?
So honestly, Nikhil had an idea. So, but the coincidence was that at that time there was a very big hit and run accident.
Yes.
Was
In the
going
court, yes.
in a court, the trials were happening. So I knew about it, and it always was very fascinating to read about it and all. And then my director had written 5-6 pager, 10 pager, I'm not sure, but it was a material which was based on that, and I jumped on it. Yeah, this is interesting.
Do you have a favorite emotion?
Yes, happiness.
What is happiness to you?
Happiness is every human is thriving for. So, at the core, every character is looking for that. It's just the definition changes for each and every character. Like sometimes you just want to survive, and that will make you happy. But after you have survived, you're still not fulfilled. You say, if I'm going to do more, I'll be more happy. If I'm going to keep on doing more, I will be happy. If I'm going to find this girl, I will be happy. Oh, if I'm going to marry her, I will be happy. If I'm going to have now family with her, I will be happy. So happiness is a one emotion which keeps this world going. I don't think that anybody is that sadist that, and even for the sadist people, whatever they do, it
brings them happiness.
So I think that's my favorite emotion, that I look for it in each character, that what will make him happy, and if he's gonna be happy after he gets it.
Have you ever been void of happiness? Have you been unhappy?
Yeah, of course. If you don't feel that, you are not going to value happiness. You cannot be happy all the time. Then it just becomes like such a monotonous thing that you will never respect once you are into happy time.
And what brings you happiness?
Family, security, peace in the world, in country where I am, financial security. I mean security in all the sense that you have emotional and financial security. And the biggest happiness is when you can tell your own story to your own family.
And they'll be happy through it.
Yes.
You mentioned family, and right before family you mentioned getting a girl.
Yep.
So the writer Karan obviously is married to his writings, to his passion for writing, to his pursuit of happiness and finding characters and finding stories to tell. But the individual Karan, tell us something about that Karan. Have you found love?
Yes.
You have.
Yes. Tons of it.
You found tons. You found tons of love in. Do you want to tell us? Anu.
Yes.
And Anu is she from Mumbai?
She is from Ahmedabad, originally born and brought up there. Then she moved to Canada. She was working in America for quite a long period of time, almost 8 years.
Simultaneous years or no?
That's the funny part. We were there simultaneously, but we never met.
Right.
We knew about each other because bachpan ka pyar.
But good for you. Good for you.
So we knew about each other. We grew up sort of together. We used to live in the same building.
Right.
But then she moved to Canada. I moved on with my college. Then moved to California. She was in Chicago. I was in LA. We were together in the same country, same time, but we never met. We met back again in 2017 in India.
She came back. You came back.
Yeah. No, I came back in 14.
Yeah.
She was just visiting.
Correct. In
17, and then same year I happened to go to America, and then again happened to meet her. That's when
she's
started.
Here now.
She's here right now. Yeah, we have been together since last pandemic. So
since the last pandemic, well, that's very lovely, and I'm sure it's good to have companionship in such troubled times.
Yes. Though I stayed away for almost like a year, but then she came back.
Karan, do you think love is a luxury or is it a necessity?
It is a necessity. It is absolute necessity, but it's so hard to get that it feels like it's luxury once you get it.
And then what happens once you get it? Or what happens to you once you get it?
I feel secure.
Feel secure.
You feel secure. It's you know that you have somebody always with you.
Nice. Speaking of security, we come from a profession where continuity in work is indecisive. It can't be cemented whether you will be working tomorrow morning or not. So, we wish that no other actors or no other writers, no other singers, musicians go through that phase of having no work. But it's inevitable, and if it is destined, then it will happen. One, have you had a phase of no work at all? And two, what were your securities or what were your support systems then other than family?
See, yes, of course, I had that phase, but thankfully it was very short-lived, few months, and that way I'm very fortunate that I'm constantly working since I have.
But that phase was dark. Although the night was short, was it dark?
Yeah, absolutely, it was. It makes you really, really insecure. That okay, what will happen tomorrow? Like you keep on checking how much money you have left in your debit card. Can I afford it? Can I afford to watch a movie?
Wow.
Can I afford to go out? Can I afford to pay rent this month? Should I move out? Should I go back?
Should I switch careers?
Never.
What if Karan Vyas was not a writer?
I would have been a good interior designer.
Good interior design.
Yeah, I have a good eye, I guess.
Karan, in the dark phase, family is always there. But other than family, who were the people that stood by you?
So my darkest phase was when the Made in China didn't work. And at that point of time, I actually, for a couple of days, I thought to switch a career. Because when I was struggling, I was still fascinated about you making a film, your film is coming out, you want to see it on a big screen, all that.
You want to watch people watching it?
Yeah. Once you have gone through that phase and then see the failure. Wrong Side Raju, this was my first film I saw, immense success on a very first film. It was a very rare for a writer that the first film he wrote and it got made. It's extremely rare in our field. Then I wrote a very first Hindi film, it also got made. Again, like a second rarest thing, it could have happened. But then that film doomed. Now when it doomed, then you could see that, okay, there are obvious things you could have figured it out, but you didn't. So you start questioning your ability. Once you start questioning the ability, see, there are two scenarios. One, you know you are talented, you are not just getting a due. That keeps you going. Second thing is you get a chance. You had a bullet, it was loaded,
You misfired.
you misfired. Then it makes you question, do I know my job or not? That is even bad. Then you don't have an excuse. You cannot say you have the best actor, you have the best production house, you have a national award winning director, you had a good release, a good holiday release. You had no escape that you can put a blame on somebody else. Then you start questioning.
And how do you defeat these insecurities?
Then Hansal sir was in my life. I couldn't go to Mikhil because Mikhil, the director of Made in China, and the Niren Bhai, who was also a writer, they were also facing the same thing. So it's
The suffering was
the similar. So there was no point of going back to them, though we all stood by each other. But then Hansal sir was there, and Hansal sir told me one thing. I never made a hit film. I'm still there in industry since 23 years. I saw my first sort of a hit film in Shahid, and after that, none of the film are that box office big success. So if you think that only the box office number matters, it does matter to an extent, but it's not everything. So just continue what you do.
So you would say consistency and
Persistence.
just persistence. Nice. Do you cry?
Yes, a lot.
When was the last time you cried?
Few days back.
Was it in a movie?
No, I always cry when I'm sick.
Okay, you cry when
Yeah.
just the
Yeah, like
what is
whenever
it? The anger of not being able to be the best.
Yeah. I always cry when I'm sick. I always feel okay. Today I'm gonna die.
What?
Yes, I always feel today I'm gonna die, and this is it. This is what I have done in my life, and ciao. That's what I feel.
I'm extremely sorry for laughing at this, but just I mean, I've not seen a caricature of Gurudutt of a Gurudutt mentality like this, but other than being sick and physically ill, have you cried?
Yeah, so many times. I had cried into Made in China's press screening because I could literally see that
See what was happening.
people were not laughing on my jokes, and I knew that this is. I saw somebody sleeping. That was very tough. And then like all the reviews I went to, and somebody, a very big critic, wrote unpassionate attempt. And
How did that make you feel?
mad, angry, and very emotional, because I know how much passionate I was, how much hours, efforts, thought.
So do you reply to these? Do you react, or what do you do?
And not. They are doing their job. You cannot. You can only answer them back with the good work.
With good, wonderful, and which you did.
Yeah,
Great.
My redemption journey was also quite
Quite short.
short.
I think, as you said, persistence matters. Karan, when you write your characters, do you have people in mind? Do you have actresses and actors and characters in mind, these people, when you write? Or is it typically left to just witty casting?
I used to. Now I don't. Initially it helps. But then now I just write them as a character, because I know now all the actors I have worked, I know one thing: if I am gonna get a good actor, he is gonna transform into that character. And I have experienced multiple times this thing. So once you start being part of the whole process from start to finish, you usually just kind of
Right.
write without thinking that who's gonna play, or I am writing only for this. There are some projects which are, you already know that okay, this person is going to perform this particular part.
Right.
It helps. For example, in Scam, I knew that Pratik is gonna play Harshad. He was cast even before I was hired.
Right.
So, and I have worked with Pratik on 2 projects. So I could definitely imagine that, okay, this is how he's going to deliver. So it helped me tremendously. But overall now when I am writing, and then I don't see, of course, if I know that if the casting is locked, and at least some of the lead characters I know, then definitely, I make a certain draft changes that which will suit the person in a way.
According to you, what are the worst challenges, the toughest challenges that writers in the industry face today?
It's coming with coming up with new ideas.
Well, I mean, that obviously is.
It's every day, because see, right now, the amount of content is being consumed or is being made is 10 times more than probably 10 years back. How much pages we are writing, like an
So
average.
the demand is exponentially more now
Yeah, so
than the supply.
so there are chances, and it is happening. I have seen it in past. I know it's going to happen in future, that on a one subject you will see that couple of people are trying to make almost similar kind of a film or similar subject. So it's the challenge is when your audience is consuming a lot, how to keep them engaged and excited about what you are writing. What else, what new you can present on the table.
Speaking of similar ideas, have you faced a situation where your organic ideas, your organic content and writing was the inspiration for somebody else's project, and it was made maybe elsewhere by another company, by another production house, and you never got anything for it?
Not really. You always doubt, but sometimes, two-person can crack the same idea, or
Or
like-
is it that you write it in such detail that maybe the base thought or the katha beej जिसे कहते हैं वो replicate हो सकता है, लेकिन जो शैली है, जो कहानी है, वो नहीं हो पाई?
Yeah, so that's why I'm never been so insecure about my material. Maybe you can take the story, but or maybe the world, but how you gonna make it the way I am gonna make it? Because that's me. That's extension of myself. So that way I'm not that insecure about the material that two people are doing the same thing, or somebody just got an idea. It has not happened to me personally as of now that I told someone and that someone end up making almost the same thing. That has not happened yet. But even that happens, I'm not that insecure, because he might gonna just get an idea. He's not gonna get out of script, because script is everything. Idea can come up to anyone anytime. Like somebody can make a film on weight loss, but it's such a generic idea. You can make 5 other films on the same subject, 5 different films. It sometimes in today's time, it just then you are just fighting and struggling for the novelty factor. Yeah, so I think, and of course everybody wants novelty, that's the demand as well. But even though somebody is trying to make something on a very similar subject, but there are chances that yours is better, or maybe there are chances that they end up making something better.
It may be better, but or it may or may not be better, but it will definitely be very different, is what you're saying,
Yeah.
because of the treatment. Very nice. Do you believe in God?
I do.
Do you fear God?
No.
What are your fears?
Fears are a lot. Fears are also sometimes your driving force. I fear a lot. Fear of losing family, fear of not being in charge of your life, fear of that you are not part of the key decision making of your material,
Right.
Fear of overexposure.
You fear being alone at the top of success.
I don't actually, because I have that certain emotional mechanism that I have a people who are not from the industry.
Who keep you grounded?
They will be there with me even I'm a very big guy, or even I will be nobody, because they were still there when I was nobody. They're still here, and I believe they will be there.
And I'm sure they're very proud of you.
Yeah, so that sense I don't fear. I also keep balance between ambition and need. I am ambitious. Sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm over ambitious," but I also sometimes, contain myself with the need. I am also very frugal at times. I am also very impulsive buyer. Same thing. I am also a very deep thinker, and sometimes I follow gut.
Said impulsive buyer. What are Karan Vyas's hobbies? Other than obviously watching films.
I like to travel. I had couple of hobbies which I am not able to fulfill. I like to go to amusement park.
Very nice.
That is one way I keep my inner child alive. That's my favorite hobby. Whenever I am in America or anywhere, I first thing I look for which is the amusement park is around.
Were you one of those kids that would have that map and go to every single ride? Very nice.
Sometimes I know which one I have to do it twice.
Do it twice, yeah.
So I do it. I drag people.
Wonderful. Make sure you take me when you go next.
Yeah.
Whenever they open up.
They are open.
they are open, but there's nobody there.
Yeah, there's nobody there. But just before pandemic started, I was in Florida, park hopping.
Wonderful. Right next door to where I had the previous half of my life, Orlando.
Yeah, I was in Orlando.
The entire Disney empire.
So yeah, I love Disney and I like in amusement park. Even in Ahmedabad, if they aren't big enough, but there are small parks I go sometimes.
The Gujarati industry is also like an amusement park at certain times.
Yeah. That's why I swing by.
That's how you swing by the Gujarati industry. I know. It's good. Keeps the child alive. Karan, what have you recently watched? What have you recently consumed? What content have you really enjoyed?
Mayor of Easttown.
Okay.
Loved it. I recently watched the 3rd season of True Detective, which I missed it. That was good. I just finished Sharp Objects. I have discovered a new sort of a sitcom show called Grace and Frankie. That actually it's my fiance is watching, so I'm the one who sometimes tag along. I loved Schitt's Creek, loved it. So yeah, I'm keeping a balance between a light and dark content.
Very good. Keeps you balanced.
Yeah.
Karan, there is a question that a lot of us get asked. These questions may be ill-prepared. These questions may be a little unfounded. They may not be as properly framed. They may be in टूटी-फूटी इंग्लिश या टूटी-फूटी हिंदी में पूछते हैं, लेकिन बहुत ज़्यादा ये सवाल आते हैं कि आप जो कर रहे हैं हमें वो करना है और वो कैसे किया जाए. So what would you say to those budding writers, to all those people who probably sometime, once upon a time, wrote their first piece of writing and may or may not have had the opportunity to get that into a film already. But what should be their approach? How should they get at least the first foot into the industry as a writer? How should they get their words to the right people?
So previously it was different. Now it is different. If you would have asked me this question 5 years back, I would say, oh, make short films. You know, this is the right way to enter. Make some YouTube videos or do something. Just do something, write something. Partially that answer remains the same.
The do part of it, so keep doing.
Yeah, so keep on doing, keep on writing, but make sure it gets made. So, for example, right now you don't have access to the big people, but whatever the smaller community, the artistic community you are in touch with, try to create a content which can be published. Published, I mean, it can be released. It can be released on YouTube, it can be released on Instagram, something. And very, and it has to be a written fictional material. I'm not talking about, for writers, anyways, this Insta Reel and TikTok doesn't count. But something like 5-minute video, 3-minute video, a scene, but get it out there. Second thing is what has been changed. we are in current stage as an industry, not just the Hindi industry or Bollywood, like across India, the film and the television industry, or with the emergence of OTT,
Yes.
lots and lots of opportunities have been opened up.
So how as a budding writer, how would I?
So with the rise of OTT platform, the things have changed slightly. Previously, you could have only gone to a director and director would have loved your script, or they would have given you a chance. Now with the rise of OTT, you can also go to the writers, and there are many writers. And writers are always looking for new writers because they are running writers' room. Each show has been written by 4 to 5 writers, so there are 100% chances that your next big break will be in OTT rather than a films directly. And especially after the pandemic, we all know that OTT has,
Got on center stage.
yeah, got on the center stage. So they can approach people like me, and there are 100 other writers. And to be very honest, writers are more accessible.
Yes.
Now, what you should not do.
Yes. Please tell us the don'ts.
So, you go to a writer and says, "Sir, मेरे पास एक script है, आप पढ़ लो." Means that another writer is selling a script to another writer, and as a writer, every writer would think, यार मैं अपना script बेचने का try कर रहा हूँ अभी, तेरा कैसे बेचूंगा? पहले मैं अपना तो बेच लूँ. What you can say is that, okay, sir, or anyone, that I am so and so writer, I have done this, which comes to a first point, that make something which is even published, like on a YouTube video or
Something out there.
which you can show that, okay, this is the script I have written and this is what has come out.
Yes.
And you can say, if you want, I can send you some samples. In samples, you don't necessarily need to send a whole script. You can send like 10-15 pages, this and that. You can send that if you are looking for some new ideas, then you can send some Bibles and stuff. Definitely you can approach a director like that. That, okay, I have a script, would you like to?
And these directors, these writers who are already busy in a writing room, or the directors who are working there, may not have the liberty of time.
Yeah.
So then that's why send samples.
There is a very, very nice article about why would I not read your script. It's there out there, and it's like a very basic thing. And there are 2 simple things which I said, that if anybody who has a power to greenlight a project or can sell a project, his allegiance goes to only 2 people. One, his manager, because he is continuously fetching work and looking out for an opportunity. And second, his friends, because he's always been collaborating and they know each other, there is a comfort zone. So obviously these 2 people will get the priority, and there's nothing wrong in it. After that, look out for writers who might want you in a writer's room, or being an assistant writer, or being a staff writer. These are like the entry level positions, like how you have an ADs. And then you can climb up. I have seen people who have started as an assistant writer on a season 1 have ended up writing season 3 on their own. They are the head writers. And the journey is only like 3 years long.
Correct.
But because since 3 years, he is living with this character in and out. Busy writers, big writers are walking in and out. But that fellow stayed.
So his apprenticeship, his or her apprenticeship,
Yeah.
eventually materialized into a
Yeah, he's
full-time-
writing season 3 now. On his own. He's like the main lead writer on that show. I have seen it in front of my eyes. So
there are very many avenues now where they can do it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And work that has been published, work that has seen the light of day, could be something as simple as the video that was sent as the entry into a short film festival or a competition of sorts, which gives them the idea of, okay, where are the orientations of these people. Good, very good. Thank you very much, Karan. That is, I'm sure, very helpful to a lot of aspiring actors. Karan Vyas, we've seen your journey. We've known from where it came. We've talked about your learnings and experiences in a different world, in a different country, and then coming back and then amalgamating yourself into the mainstream here and then succeeding in it. Where do we see Karan Vyas hereafter?
I continue want to work. In future, definitely I want to produce and direct, but I don't know when. Might surely happen sometime. But right now, I just want to concentrate on what the projects I'm working on and some of the stories I want to tell as a writer. So I want to focus on that. I'm gonna do a lot of different stuff. I want to make web series, films. I also want to dive into non-fictional content. I would love to produce a documentary. I'm really looking for something which I can collaborate and I can bring on my expertise and can, bring in few of my friends and tell something amazing if any filmmaker out there who wants to collaborate. Yeah, so a couple of ideas are there, but primarily, majorly, I'm focusing what's there in my hand right now.
So that was Karan Vyas. Ladies and gentlemen, who will be fanning out into all these different avenues और बहुमुखी प्रतिभा के धनी तो वो है ही. तो जितने भी aspiring actors, aspiring directors, aspiring writers, more importantly, चाहते हैं कि एक correct orientation के साथ वो आएं, तो please do write to him and write to him well, and I'm sure he will pay heed like the others that he has suggested. And I wish you well in those journeys. Till then, we shall continue.